when it comes to creating a mahal or an atmosphere to stimulate investment, you also have this constant worry about the sort of statements that come out from the government or those considered close to the regime, which are seen as concerning. And I wanted to just get your views on some of the instances of that which have made headlines recently. And one of which was, of course, I don't know if you saw that attack on Infosys. Complaints that Infosys' GST backbone has not been up to scratch. And there was this attack in this RSS journal which said that Infosys is actually anti-national and is all of that.
So I obviously follow this at a distance, but it just strikes me as, completely unproductive. Would you accuse the government of being anti-national for not doing a good job on vaccines initially? You'd say it's a mistake, and people do make mistakes. I don't think the GST rollout has been spectacular. I think it could have been done better, but you don't sort of when people make mistakes, certainly inquire why the mistake was made. We need an inquiry into the vaccine rollout. We need an inquiry into why the GST was not rolled out properly. But, learn from those mistakes and don't use it as a club to roll out your own prejudices, which exist.
Mm. Okay, so as you said, that's not very helpful. The other thing which also has been of concern is that while again there's talk of trying to stimulate private investment and also in fact encourage further foreign investment setting up factories, we've seen now more than one big auto major actually fold up in India. Ford is the latest. What do you see that as just as an isolated thing that's just limited to those companies and the auto sector? Or is there a disconnect between the government saying, listen, we want to encourage more foreign investment, and what actually the conditions are on the ground?
I think it's more the latter. I would say that what we need to do to encourage investment is make the ground more welcoming, which means some of the things the government has been working on, making business more transparent and easier to do. We need far more on that. A lot of it is so far has been somewhat cosmetic, but we need to change the ground realities for business, make them feel that it's easier to operate businesses in India. And this is good for our own businesses. Forget foreign businesses. It's good for our own entrepreneurs. But I think beyond that, some of these incentive schemes are to compensate for a very difficult business environment. And, people are not going to take these and feel that it's adequate. To really compensate for a difficult business environment, you need enormous amounts of subsidies. Better to improve the business environment, but also remove the uncertainty about the business environment. You can't keep changing schemes every few months. You can't bring in the foreign investors, then change the rules on them. You need to have some kind of transparency about the process by which rule changes will be made, but also make them as business friendly to the extent that you protect all the relevant interests in our country as well as possible. So I would say work on the frameworks, make them more engaging and interesting, and people will come. Your little bit of subsidy here and there, your incentive schemes, they may help at the margin, but they won't offset deeper problems in the way we produce. And in fact, what you will do is end up just paying people who are going to come here anyway.